So what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is essentially just an acknowledgement of a misunderstanding that I've seen taking place amongst the fandom when it comes to this statement referring to Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. Essentially, Vegeta tells the audience that Goku and Vegeta's power is really not that much different than Jiren's, and that what Jiren had over them was an efficient use of his power. Now, when this was first revealed to the fandom, I remember a lot of people jumped to the conclusion that Jiren had been nerfed. And the purpose of this video is to essentially completely debunk that idea, because that is not what's going on at all. Jiren has not been nerfed. People are just completely misunderstanding what Vegeta is saying here. So I'm going to break it down in detail so you can sort of understand what Vegeta is getting at, because this has nothing to do with Jiren being weaker than he was portrayed in the previous installment during the Tournament of Power. This is just to communicate to us that Goku and Vegeta have not been able to access 100% of their power. That's what this is really about. Now, a great example of this, a great example to use to essentially understand what Vegeta is trying to say here, is Vegeta's training on Yardrat in the Dragon Ball Super manga. Now, if you remember correctly, after Vegeta trained with the Yardrats and learned to meditate and essentially learned to de-stress and fight more effectively through using the principles of meditation, afterwards, during his first fight, he projects an energy blast and he puts off more power than he was anticipating, right? And the whole entire purpose of this is to show you exactly what Vegeta is talking about here in reference to Jiren. Now, this is a perfect example of the misunderstanding that people have when it comes to what Vegeta said about Jiren. Essentially, the idea is that Jiren has mastered the ability to bring out all of his power. When you see Jiren meditating serves two purposes. It gives him a means of fighting on an instinctual level. Essentially, what Jiren is doing is what Vegeta needs to be able to keep up with Goku, who fights on an instinctual level when he uses Ultra Instinct. Jiren is imprinting moves into his mind so that he can use his mind in such an efficient way that it is like essentially using Ultra Instinct. Like, it's very, very similar to Ultra Instinct. It's just the best way, and I've described it this way before. The best way to think about it, it's like when you program a combo into a single button on a video game, you're pressing one button, and, you know, that's causing your character to do an entire combo. That's essentially what Vegeta and Jiren are trying to accomplish with their mind. They're trying to basically make it to where as soon as they command their body to do something with their mind, they don't have to think about the individual actions. Their movements are so ingrained into their mind that when they decide to make a movement, they essentially do a combo attack rather than a single attack. That's what you see when you see Jiren using that wall of fists. That's essentially what you're seeing, is Jiren implementing this idea of imprinting a set of moves into his mind until they become second nature. And so the first thing that meditation does for Jiren is it allows him to fight as though he's fighting on an instinctual level, despite the fact that he's not fighting like Goku. Now, the difference between Ultra Instinct, right, and what Jiren and Vegeta are trying to accomplish is that Goku is essentially just setting the controller down, right? He doesn't even have to press a button. Like, he's just like, he's letting the computer fight for him, essentially, right? He's letting the CPU fight for him. That's essentially what's happening with Goku. That's the difference, and that's the reason that Goku's reaction time is so much better than Jiren's and Vegeta's, despite the fact that Vegeta and Jiren kind of have their own version of instinctual movement. Now, the second thing that Jiren uses meditation for is to essentially regulate and use his energy in the most efficient way humanly possible by essentially creating the most efficient movements that don't take as much energy for him to use them. And so when you see Jiren, you know, putting out all this energy that's reminiscent of heat, you're essentially seeing Jiren use his energy in a super efficient way through the use of meditation and through the use of essentially what he's doing is he's implementing what Vegeta learned on Yardrat, but in an extremely efficient way. Like, even more so, like he understands that the more he meditates, that is how he's going to move and use his energy the most efficient way possible, is essentially maintain the benefits that Vegeta got from training on Yardrat. That is what in combination with the instinctual movements that they're trying to achieve, which is, for the record, the difference between what Vegeta did on Yardrat and what he's doing in Dragon Ball Super Super Hero is the efficient use of the energy, but also the new development is more about imprinting movements into his mind rather than the use of energy. Now, the two things are connected. Vegeta is using what he learned on Yardrat as well whenever he's meditating in Dragon Ball Super Super Hero, but the new development that he's learned is the ability to implement moves into his mind to fight on an instinctual level like Jiren. That's essentially what Vegeta has learned through this new meditation practice that he's using in Dragon Ball Super Super Hero, which is, again, part of the reason why Goku hadn't figured that out. Because here's the thing. Goku's not the type to think like that, right? But when Goku uses Ultra Instinct, and you'll notice this in the Tournament of Power, he automatically uses his energy in this way without trying. Because when Goku is in Ultra Instinct, he is doing what Jiren does, what Jiren meditates in order to be able to do, Vegeta as well, without all of that. He's in a constant state of the benefits that meditation brings you in martial arts through Ultra Instinct. And that's why you'll notice when Goku and Jiren are fighting in the Tournament of Power, they both have a mass amount of energy and they seem very, very similar to each other. The one thing that Goku has over Jiren, like I explained before, is that he's essentially just letting his body do whatever it wants. He doesn't have to put in that second of effort to make sure that his moves are being done at the correct time. He's just letting, again, the CPU fight for him. That's essentially the difference. So he has a bit faster reaction time than Jiren, and he automatically, without implementing this meditation technique that Vegeta is in Dragon Ball Super Super Hero, he is automatically using his energy in the most efficient way possible when he's in Ultra Instinct. So no, Jiren has not been nerfed. If you can imagine in your head, essentially what this is all building up to is Vegeta being able to put out all that heat, all that chi that Jiren was capable of being able to put out in the Tournament of Power due to his use of meditation and his efficient use of his energy, just like Goku automatically does when he's in Ultra Instinct without even trying. They're trying to build up to Vegeta being able to do that in Ultra Ego, but also Goku being able to do that without relying on the Ultra Instinct transformation. So that's what's happening here. Jiren has not been nerfed. He's still super OP, during the Tournament of Power era. I know the power scaling has just went up and up and up since then. But Jiren is still a titan. He's still ridiculously strong. And I just wanted to acknowledge this because I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and rarely does anybody understand exactly what's happening here. I've seen so many people complaining because Jiren has supposedly been nerfed, and that's just not the case at all. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, don't forget to check out Dragon Ball Infinity on the DaoofDragonBall.com. It's a story I wrote and produced with the help of Copy Workshop about a young Saiyan boy based on a character from Egyptian mythology who was a monkey god very similar to Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, who was an actual god of destruction. This story actually plays very heavily on Egyptian lore. It also makes references to Journey to the West due to the fact that the legend of Journey to the West and the story of Babi, the Egyptian baboon god, have a lot in common. So if you're interested, don't forget to check it out on the DaoofDragonBall.com, hosted by Derek Padula. And also don't forget to check out Derek Padula's many articles breaking down the many cool spiritual and scientific aspects of Dragon Ball, as well as its relevance in pop culture and different really cool aspects of Dragon Ball that are really fun to read about. Derek does a great job with his articles, so I would highly recommend you check out this website. And don't forget to check out his Dragon Ball culture books available now. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate the support.